Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the national colors of SEAMEO member and associate member countries.
Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos PDR, Malaysia, Myanmar,
The Philippines,
Singapore, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Vietnam, Australia, Canada, France, Germany, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Spain,
and
the United Kingdom.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magiliw, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baghang, may nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mamapit, pagkamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning, everyone. Again, welcome to SEAMEO INNOTECH's Digital Wellbeing of Filipino Learners, a webinar on youth, cybersafety, and digital citizenship. We are happy to see 88 participants joining us via Zoom and our Facebook and YouTube live viewers. Welcome to. I am Genesis, and I will be your host for this half-day webinar. Digital Wellbeing of Filipino Learners is a webinar on youth, cybersafety, and digital citizenship. It is part of SEAMEO INNOTECH's series of knowledge for on key education issues in Southeast Asia. With the use of technology and education more pronounced during pandemic, we believe it is important to discuss the risks and opportunities of the online learning environment. This webinar aims not just to inform you about the online safety, but to transform you into responsible and empowered digital citizens. In this webinar, you will meet 3 speakers who will share about the importance of cyber safety and how schools and communities can help in protecting the youth online. The next half of the webinar will be filled with activities that will help us appreciate and understand digital citizenship. We will also be showing helpful videos from our event partners, National Privacy Commission, Justice Institute of British Columbia, BDO Foundation, Google, and Facebook's Digital Tayo. We hope that you will learn a lot from and apply it in your work, in your school, and in your personal life. We look forward to your active participation throughout this webinar.
To better engage our participants in this event, we decided to host games in different parts of the webinar. Occasionally, we will be posting questions on our screen. To join the game, kindly go to http://kahoot.it and enter the code that you see on your screen. If you're able to join this webinar, then you probably spend a lot of time online. You are aware of the benefits that we enjoy online, but surely, along with those benefits, there are risks and threats. Recently, UNESCO Bangkok launched the results of the Digital Kids Asia Pacific, or DCAP project. Program Officer will tell us more about this project and what they found.
Mr. Dang has worked with UNESCO Bangkok as a project assistant and consultant in 2019 for projects related to ICT and education. In 2020, he started working as a program officer overseeing the regional expansion of flagship digital citizenship projects across 9 countries. This includes research, policy advocacy, and technical support for government and partner organizations to promote the use of technology in education. Everyone, let us welcome Mr. Tuan Dang, UNESCO Bangkok.
Good morning, everybody, and greetings from UNESCO Bangkok. It is an honor for me to start off this forum today on the very important topic of cyber safety and digital citizenship. Now, some of you may be wondering, is it really that difficult to be safe and effective online? And what kind of impact could these dangers really have on your lives? Well, today I hope to answer some of these questions and share the work that we've been doing at UNESCO over the last 4 years to ensure that students will be safe and effective in their use of digital technology. Now, did you know that each day, 900,000 new users come online for the first time? I did the math, and that is about 328.5 million people each year. That's almost 3 times the population of the Philippines. Children and youth make up an increasing percentage of this number. And they're often referred to as digital natives, describing persons born and brought up in the digital age. Many of you in the audience are likely to be part of this group. It is said that growing up in close contact with technology has made you familiar with computers and the internet, almost a skill that you have from the beginning. Such close contact can be a tricky dilemma. On one hand, this technology can feel comfortable and familiar. It enables you to do so many things in your lives. While on the other, the internet can be a vast place with unknowns, dangers, and risks. Young people like yourselves are being more connected than ever before. Due to the impacts of COVID-19, school closures, and social distancing has meant that people had to learn to adapt and turn to the internet as a way to carry out many different aspects of their lives. During the last year, youth in the ASEAN have greatly increased their use of digital tools. And we saw a spread across a wide range of uses, including social media, e-commerce, food delivery, video streaming, gaming, banking, and of course, online learning. This large increase in online activity was boosted by the move to online learning. At last count, it was estimated that Philippines had experienced between 31 to 40 weeks of school disruption. And in response, online and virtual classrooms and video assignments have become part of a new norm. The convenience and uses of online learning may have changed youth's attitudes towards education delivery. It is estimated that almost 45% of students had increased their use of online learning. And 36% of them believe that this will likely become a permanent change. Yet, while we've been ushered into this era of online learning, there's still many challenges still to be addressed. Governments all over the world recognize the harms and risks of the internet. According to a study from the OECD, the top 2 most pressing challenges that were identified were digital citizenship and cyberbullying. Also included in this list were issues such as excessive use harmful content, and online predators, indicating the global nature of these issues. And these issues are not just for young people, they are also for everyone who's a digital user. In today's digital world, it is easy for bad-intentioned actors to create and share harmful content, such as fake news, to misinform and disinform. The problem is also compounded by the sheer amount of volume of content that's being shared across all the social media channels. For example, this tragic situation, such as the one on TikTok, where a clip of a man's suicide was widely shared and made it onto the feeds of many young people. These experiences can have long-lasting harmful impacts, causing stress and shock, and even trauma, having to relive the moments of graphic images over and over. Sometimes once we see them, it can be hard to forget. While platforms have policies and automated algorithms to remove such content, the world of social media can often perpetuate it and get around them. Users can re-upload videos in hopes for new views. So what can we do? 4 years ago, UNESCO started a project titled Digital Kids Asia Pacific, or DCAP for short. We sought to understand what students are thinking, doing, and feeling in their uses online. This research sought not only to understand the technical skills needed for using technology, but also the emotional and behavioral skills that would enable youth to be safe, ethical, and effective in the digital era. The end result was a holistic digital citizenship framework covering 5 domains: digital literacy, digital safety and resilience, digital participation and agency, digital emotional intelligence, and digital creativity and innovation. These 5 domains provide a holistic framework of how students should be developed and taught so that they can be enabled into the digital era. The research was expanded into 9 countries with over 13,000 students in the region. And in late 2020, the study was completed in the Philippines. Now, you may be wondering, what are the findings and how are students in Philippines doing? Well, what may be surprising is that students are actually doing quite well in digital safety and resilience. Out of the 5 domains, digital safety and resilience is the highest performing domain in all countries and in the Philippines. But that is not to say that we should not focus on safety. Safety is a key aspect, and we should always be alert to it. As I mentioned earlier, one poor experience can have life-changing impact. And there are several ways to address this, which I'll go into a bit later. Another key finding was that digital creativity and innovation was the lowest across all countries, and likewise in Philippines. It shows that the education system is not doing enough to empower students in making the most beneficial use of ICT. One key factor to why children are not developing digital skills is the lack of access to devices and the internet. 2 positive predictors to digital citizenship skills are the number of years of experience and time spent using digital devices. Of course, if you're unable to use and play with technology, then your opportunities to learn are lessened. What we see is that when students started using digital devices earlier in life, they tended to have higher scores. Yet, almost 30% of students in the Philippines had not used digital devices until they were the age of 14. We also often hear about the time that youth spend online as not being that beneficial. They're playing games on social media, chatting, and not giving enough effort towards their studies. However, we would also like to provide another dimension to this. In the realm of digital skills and literacy, the research shows that skills often get developed beyond schooling in the personal lives of youth. In UNICEF's study with youth in ASEAN, it was found that over 50% of the youth developed their skills through searching on the internet. Other ways that they used were learning through their hobbies, extracurricular classes, and friends. Which takes me to the role of teachers. When we asked youth about who influenced them the most about learning about computers and the internet, the findings showed that less and less children are turning to the people we thought they would, such as parents and teachers. In fact, students are more likely to teach themselves about both using computers and the internet. Technology is constantly growing and changing, and thus self-learning may indeed be the right way to approach it. However, teachers and parents still play a key role and need to adapt. It was found that when teachers suggest ways to use the internet safely and encourage students to explore and learn more things, this was correlated with higher levels of digital skills. At the launch of our first DCAP report in 2019, a member of the youth committee in Thailand described how what she learned in school and from her parents were often just basic ICT skills. However, when it came to questions about algorithms or fake news, it often felt like she was speaking different languages. In the face of this constantly growing technology, children are taking control of their own learning, and teachers and parents need to ensure that they are able to support it in ways that align. Now, I'd like to return back to the topic that I started my presentation with. What would we need to develop a generation of safe, ethical, and effective digital users? With the DCAP project, we have started to gather key insights needed to develop and teach students. Firstly, the framework shows that we need to holistically promote cognitive, social, emotional, and technical digital skills. And students can start by building foundational knowledge in digital and media information literacy. They should make positive uses of their time online through self-learning and uses of resources. And by staying safe, they should create a safe online learning environment to protect themselves by understanding the privacy and security features of their platforms and their rights of being online. And lastly, they should form a supportive and healthy network of teachers, families, peers, and friends who they can turn to for advice. We also have some recommendations for teachers and educators. First, we need to ensure inclusive access to digital devices and internet connectivity for all students. Second, we all need to be digital citizens. Teachers and parents should model good digital behaviors so that they can set examples for students to learn from. We can increase support for educators with ICT competency training and recognition. Teachers can encourage student-centered teaching and learning that promotes self-learning, collaboration, creativity, innovation, and problem solving, skills that they'll need for the future. Schools should ensure that curricula align with lifelong learning needs and the labor market, and that resources are aligned with digitally innovative pedagogy. Families and communities should be engaged through communication and outreach. And lastly, we should use evidence-based research to support policies for improving education. I've included some key resources on the DCAP project, as well as our work with teachers in building ICT competencies, as well as some useful resources on how students can develop digital literacy, cyber safety, and media and information literacy. And with that, I thank you for your time, and I wish you a great forum of great learning and discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duan Dang, for your insights, especially those focusing on the Philippines. Your discussion points affirm the importance of this webinar that focuses on cyber safety and digital citizenship. The past year truly pushed us all to adapt online, exposing us in different dangerous and unproductive activities, especially the younger generation who are digital natives, very close to the online world from a young age. And I'd like to give emphasis on the role of parents and teachers in modeling good digital behavior. We hope to learn more about the DCAP project's study and findings. Sir Don, thank you, and we'll see you again in the Q&A. Everyone, if you have questions, type them in the chat box or leave your comments in the Facebook or YouTube live broadcast. We'll give Sir Tuan the chance to respond to them later. Okay, before moving forward, we again invite you to join our game. For those who are joining us now, we are hosting a game via Kahoot. So you can go to https://kahoot, KHOOT.IT, and then enter the code 218-117-1171. Again, enter the code 218-1171. Then you will be led to a screen that will show a spin wheel in order for you to get an assigned name. So after your nickname has been assigned to you, take a screen capture of that nickname so that if you ever win our games, you will be able to prove your identity. And remember, please keep your browser open. Do not close the Kahoot browser window. For those who are using mobile, you will have to switch back and forth between Kahoot and Zoom. So I hope you have the patience for this. Thank you so much. And please join our game. Okay, if you're ready, our first question prompt after our keynote speaker is about Digital Kids Asia Pacific, or the DCAP project that was just discussed by Mr. Tuan. So the question is, how do you practice digital safety and resilience? So this is a double point. How do you practice digital safety and resilience? For the red choice, frequently checking the privacy settings of my online account. Diamond blue, collaborating with other internet users. Yellow circle, create content using ICT tools. And green square, knowing and understanding my rights. So how do you practice digital safety and resilience? Okay, this is a multi-select quiz, so we have 2 correct answers. If you got both, you have more points. Frequently checking the privacy settings of my online accounts and knowing and understanding my rights. Thank you. And let's see who's leading this time. Okay, now we have Swift Stork leading our leaderboards. All right, for our next question, this is a true or false question. So the question is, students tend to become better digital citizens when they see their teachers and parents model good digital behaviors. Blue for true, red for false. The quicker you answer, the higher the points. Blue for true, red for false. All right, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is true. So we have 40 people who got the answer correctly. Let's see. Let's see our progress so far. All right, Swift Stork is still leading. Congrats, Swift Stork. We have more questions later. For those who want to win, you still have a chance later on. Okay. Finally, we have this question to prepare you for the first session. How do you do with the current school setup? Kamusta ang eskwela kapag online? Select the emoji that best describes your answer. So red, happy face, blue, sad face, and yellow, ayoko na. Green with a heart, excited. All right, thank you for answering this poll. Unfortunately, this is not included in the scoring. So I hope you're excited for this session. We will listen to 2 speakers who will share the truth about our youth's exposure to online risks and the measures that schools can take to protect their learners. Our first speaker, she's been working on child protection initiatives since 2011. Her work mainly involves supplying psychosocial support to victims of child trafficking and sexual exploitation. She has also led advocacy projects and multi-sectoral workshops on child protection. In 2019, she started her work with Save the Children for the project SAFERKIDSPH, coordinating with local government units, service providers, law enforcement units, communities, and schools in reducing online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. Participants and viewers, we give you Ms. April Ann Correa, Project Coordinator for Save the Children Philippines.
Good day, everyone. I am April Ann Correa, Project Coordinator of SAFERKIDSPH under Save the Children Philippines. I was invited here today by SEAMEO INNOTECH for the webinar on youth cybersafety and digital citizenship for me to discuss what our program is about, specifically on our initiatives in the communities and schools to help community members and school personnel keep our children safe online. So let me introduce our program first. So we are an Australian government initiative, and the program is delivered through the pioneering consortium of Save the Children Philippines, the Asia Foundation, and UNICEF to reduce the online sexual abuse and exploitation of children in the Philippines. We are working with the children and their families, the Philippine government, both at the local and national levels, the civil society, and the private sector to ensure that children are safe and protected online. We work with the public, so we work to improve the knowledge, attitudes, and practices of community members, of schools, uh, primary caregivers, faith-based organizations, local groups, businesses, and media to protect children from online sexual abuse and exploitation. We also work with the law enforcers and the courts to improve the capacity of these justice actors in handling and responding to ASAE cases. And lastly, at the local level where Save the Children is working on, we are working to improve the service delivery of ASAE, prevention and protection of children in target barangays, communities, and schools. So let us define first what do we mean by online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. So it includes all acts of a sexually exploitative and abusive nature carried out against a child that have at some stage a connection to the online environment. So there are three actors when we talk about the SAEC. First, there is the perpetrator, or the one that is behind the camera, or usually on the other side of the world, who are looking for children that they can victimize. Second actor in OSAIC is what we call the facilitator. So sadly, data shows that most of the facilitators are family members or trusted adults by the child. They are usually the ones who groom the child, or who prepare the child for them to be willing, or to ma-convince sila to do these sexual acts in front of the camera. They do this by giving promises to the child, pag-aaralin ka, or so we can put food on the table. Kasama din sa grooming ay yung mga false promises, like a stranger could come up to a child, can send a message to a child and say, are you interested to be a model, because we have a modeling agency and we can make you famous. So mga ganong klaseng mensahe, no? It comes in various forms, ang OSAIC. So there is harm from content. Ibig sabihin, the things that we see online and read online. So for example, pornographic websites or any form of literature na may depiction of a child being sexually abused and exploited. Second is harm from contact. So mga tao, mga strangers who message us kahit hindi natin sila kilala. So as mentioned earlier, may mga nagme-message, may nagpa-promise ng career or ng malaking kita in exchange for sending a few photos and videos. So mga ganong klaseng interaction, that's what we call harm from contact. And third is harm from conduct. Ito yung how we behave online. So nag-a-add ba tayo ng kung sino-sino sa ating social media accounts? Hindi ba tayo masusi sa pag-filter kung sino ang ating ina-add as friends sa Facebook or pina-follow sa Instagram, for example? Tayo ba ay hindi rin conscious sa privacy settings ng ating social media accounts? So, kapag naka-public, so anyone can see it. So, that's an example of harm from conduct. We are in a total of 4 pilot barangays and 4 pilot schools in Cagayan de Oro and Iligan cities. As you can see, For Save the Children Philippines, we have key activities sa ating stakeholders at the local level. So makikita nyo first, we have awareness raising activities at the community level. So meron kaming modules for parents and children that will teach them what ASAIC is and why it is a violation of children's right, especially on their right to be protected from all forms of violence. Second, our module aims to teach our community members protective behaviors online. And third, tuturuan natin ang ating community members kung saan at kanino pwedeng lumapit kapag may mga issues on child protection na gusto nilang isumbong. Second, we have capacity building plans for our partners, no? Kasama dito ang mga police, ang ating social workers, and ang school personnel. So kabilang sa trainings na ibibigay natin ay first, how to handle disclosures. Like for example, kapag si student ay hindi safe sa bahay dahil ang abuser ay kasama sa bahay and safe siya, feeling niya safe siyang magsumbong kay teacher. So ititrain namin ang school personnel and ang teachers on how to properly handle this and kung kaninong agencies or saang agencies and kanino lalapit sa barangay. So kasama yan sa training na ibibigay. Meron ding trainings on the case management process at meron ding trainings for them on how to teach the children on cybersafety. So meron kaming ganong initiatives with the schools. And then third, there is development of child protection or ASAIC-related programs, plans, and activities. So to ensure the sustainability, gusto natin na may budgeted programs ang LGUs para sa mga bata, especially when it comes to ASAIC. No? So ayun ang key activities namin. So what have we done so far for Safer Kids? So mayroon kaming Kids Protect Kids campaign that we launched last quarter of 2020. So this was a partnership with education.ph. You are very much welcome to visit the website and look for the online quizzes that we developed. No, this total of 12 online quizzes. The ones that you see here, ang tatlo na nakikita niyo dito are the ones specifically for ASAIC. So ang aim namin dito is to sustain na mayroon pa rin kaming awareness raising sessions na conduct despite the current situation that we have now, the very limited ang ating face-to-face training. So since hindi muna kami nakakapag-community work, so we launched this digital quizzes. So para kahit paano, alam pa rin ng mga bata how to protect themselves online. Another initiative that we had last year in the middle of the pandemic is the reproduction of Pamilyang Protektado booklet. So it is a material that contains information about COVID-19, and the ones that the one that you see now on the screen is the page where online safety tips can be found in the booklet. So there are a lot here, no? Mayroong 11 tips, but I would just like to highlight at least 3. So first, revisit your social media profiles. Ensure that yung settings nyo ay naka-private, or at least just make sure that the people who see your posts are those that you really trust. Second, be careful of the information that you share online. So for example, cell phone numbers, address, where you go to school, your birthdays, because this can be used to steal more information about you online, or this can be used by predators to track you. So some of them actually use these para sundan yung ibang bata and to try to get to know them, to win their confidence or to win their trust. Tapos we never know what their intentions could be. And then third, mag-isip ng mabuti bago mag-post. So again, the posts that we put out on the internet is already there forever. So ang rule is, if it's something that you do not want a stranger to see, then better not to post it at all. So what you see here are samples or screenshots that I took. So these are how you can keep your profiles private and safe from possible predators. So meron kayo nakikita dyang example of safety tips. So this one is from Instagram. Ayan. So pwede nyong tingnan ang inyong social media profiles and just check if the people that you are friends with, if your followers are really people that you trust, no? And you really know very well. So, yun. That's it for my presentation. Thank you very much for the time that was given to Safer Kids for this morning. If you want to know more about Safer Kids, we have a website, saferkidsph.org. Merong mga resources doon that you can read about the issue if you want to know more. So maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Ms. April, for that very informative presentation. I extremely appreciate how you exposed the face of abuse and exploitation. Folks, it's very easy to give in when someone promises you something, and especially if it is something that you truly desire or if it is an immediate need involving your family. Abuse and exploitation can come in various forms, like people promising career or profit, and we're glad that there are people like Miss April who save our children from such dangers and train us so we ourselves can protect our children. Thank you again, Miss April, for letting us join this fight against online abuse and exploitation. We'll see you again later for the Q&A. Okay, if you have questions again, please type them in the chat box or leave comments in our live stream. To help us recall what we learned just now from Miss April, we have another set of questions for you. To those who are new, we are hosting games via Kahoot. Join us by browsing to kahoot.it and entering the code that you see on your screen, 218-1171. So everyone, please keep your Kahoot app or browser open. Do not close it. And please stay on tune to our Zoom or Facebook live feed. All right. So after you join our game, you will be assigned with a nickname by spinning a wheel. Be sure to take a screenshot or screen capture of that nickname so you can prove your identity later. So this is a quiz, multi-select. Be sure to select all the correct answers. What are some of the common reasons why children fall victim to online sexual abuse and exploitation? Red, just bored. Blue diamond, they trust the person. Yellow circle for school tuition. And square green, to be a celebrity. So this is a multi-select question. You should select all the correct answers. What are some common reasons why children fall victim to online sexual abuse and exploitation? So the three correct answers are blue, they trust the person, for school tuition, and to be a celebrity. Okay, let's see the result. We have Swift Stork still leading by 1,000 points. Okay, next question. We have one. All right, this is a true or false question. Once we post something online, you don't have control over it anymore. True or false? The quicker you answer, the bigger your points. So true for blue, red for false. All right. So you can see our answers flooding in. 2, 1, and the correct answer is true. Yes, sometimes our posts can blow up. Don't know where it will go. So thank you. So the answer is true. True for blue. All right. Let's see our progress so far. Swift Stork leading still by 1,000 points. Okay, I guess that's it for our questions for now. Don't close your Kahoot window. Don't close your browsers. Just switch back to Zoom and leave Kahoot open so your scores will be recorded. Our next speaker works with key government agencies in the Philippines on various projects related to child protection. One of the programs he helped initiate is the Cybersafety program, which is currently adopted by the Philippine Department of Education as part of its child online protection initiatives. He also works with KNH Germany as their regional child protection trainer for Asia, which supports partners on child protection policy development and child protection programming across 10 countries in Asia. Everyone, let us all welcome Mr. Israel Diloy, Senior Advocacy Officer of Stairway Foundation Incorporated.
Again, isang magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Ako po uli si Ace from Stairway Foundation at ang aking i-discuss ngayon ay yung topic ng cyber safety in schools in the new normal. So paano ba natin pwedeng panatiliin ang cyber safety sa bagong model ng edukasyon ngayon during the pandemic? So, even before the pandemic, no, marami ng posibleng nangyayaring unsafe and inappropriate online interactions involving students or learners. So meron tayo sa aspeto ng school personnel to learner. So minsan, may mga unsafe or inappropriate interaction between school personnel to learner. Tapos, most of the time, meron din yung learner to learner, tulad ng cyberbullying, for example. And then you also have learner to school personnel kasi minsan yung pagiging unsafe can also come from the learner themselves. Minsan inappropriate yung pakikipag-interact nila sa mga school personnel online. And then of course, we have yung aspeto ng outsiders, meaning hindi mga miyembro ng paaralan tapos nakikipag-interact sa mga estudyante at maaring unsafe siya or inappropriate yung online interaction. However, nung dumating yung pandemic, syempre, mas na-amplify yung ganitong sitwasyon kasi halos lahat nag-move na towards online. So with distance education or yung new normal na kung saan meron tayong modular, online classes, etc., yung mga paaralan, kailangan umisip ng mga iba't ibang paraan upang mas mapanatiling ligtas ang mga mag-aaral sa online and offline sphere. So, ito ay pwedeng sumentro sa polisiya o yung mga rules sa schools and syempre yung mga programa or programs, of course, sa konteksto ng new normal. So ito yung aking isi-share this morning at I hope na magkaroon kayo ng idea kung paano to ilo-localize sa setting nyo, no? Lalo sa inyo bilang mga estudyante, ano yung mga pwede nyong gawin para ma-adapt itong mga general ideas na to at maisulong siya sa konteksto ng inyong paaralan. So, meron tayong online classes na kung saan yung delivery mode ay via online. Pero minsan kahit hindi online class, for example modular, gumagamit pa rin ng internet kasi merong mga aspeto ng komunikasyon tulad ng GCs or direct messages between school personnel and students. Tapos, syempre, yung school personnel and learners, minsan nagiging kalakaran, nag-a-add sila, nagiging friends sila via social media. So, nagkakakitaan sila ng mga posts, sariling mga posts. And then, of course, dahil lahat tayo online, merong limitation sa face-to-face interaction, mataas ngayon, syempre, yung online interaction amongst classmates. And in general, syempre, tumaas yung device and internet usage ng mga kabataan. Hindi lamang dahil sa online class, kundi in general because of the community quarantine protocols, no? So, dahil walang face-to-face class, andun din yung aspeto na minsan mas mahirap ngayon mag-disclose yung mga learners or for them to reach out to teachers kung kailangan nila ng psychosocial support kasi andyan yung limitations, no, ng walang face-to-face interaction. So ano yung pwedeng gawin o ano yung mga ideya para pwedeng isulong lalo yung cyber safety in schools in the new normal? So dahil sa limitadong oras, dalawa yung aking general idea na gusto sanang i-introduce sa inyo at gusto kong pag-isipan nyo bilang learners kung paano to isusulong sa inyong setting. So unang-una, syempre, dumako tayo sa polisiya. So adjusting school child protection policy. So I'm very sure naririnig nyo na to palagi yung child protection policy. So ang i-discuss ko mamaya, paano ba siya i-adjust sa konteksto ng new normal? Yung pangalawa, integrating cyber safety and digital citizenship in education. So paano ito ituturo sa aspeto ng paaralan? So unahin muna natin yung school-based child protection policy. So linawin natin, no, meron ng existing na CPP or Child Protection Policy and DepEd at ang expectation, ang mga paaralan ay maglo-localize o gagawa ng kanilang sariling version na adapted mula doon sa General Child Protection Policy ng DepEd. So pagdating sa new normal, syempre kailangan medyo may adjustment pa kasi iba yung setting natin ngayon. So una-una naming sinusulong or gusto naming ibigay na idea, yung paglalagay ng code of conduct for online classes. So ano ba yung code of conduct? Basically, ito yung rules or guidelines for behavior amongst those participating in online classes. So maaring siyang code of conduct for teacher to learner. Kailangan may gabay yung mga guro kung paano sila makikipag-interact sa mga bata, sa mga estudyante during online class. Pero at the same time, kailangan may rules din or code of conduct for learner-to-learner interaction. Kasi syempre, ayaw natin mangyari yung inappropriate interaction amongst learners. And then, last but not the least, learner to teacher. Kailangan malinaw din para sa lahat kung paano tayo makikitungo sa ating mga guro sa konteksto ng online class. Pero syempre, yan ay online class. Paano naman doon sa ibang aspeto tulad ng mga nagmo-modular na kung saan kahit walang online class, gumagamit pa rin internet, primarily for communications purposes. So, kailangan may code of conduct for communications, whether ito ay aspeto ng group chats na maraming GC kayo ngayon sa school o kaya DMs or yung direct messaging. So, napaka-importante ng rules with regards to this at yun ay dapat ilagay sa child protection policy. At dahil nagkakaroon nga ng aspeto na nagiging friends si teacher tsaka estudyante sa social media, kailangan may guidelines din para sa mga guro in terms of what content they have to share in their social media account, considering na baka makita ito ng mga estudyante. Okay. And then last but not the least, no, yung eskwelahan, yung paaralan, kailangan umisip ng paraan kung paano makakapag-provide ng safe and accessible access sa mga learners for online school-based help channels. Paano ba ma-access ng mga kabataan, ng mga estudyante, yung kanilang mga guidance counselor sa school kung kailangan nila ng psychosocial support, for example. So, yung mga guidelines na yun, lahat yun dapat nakalagay sa school-based child protection policy. So, napaka-importante nung CPP. Kasi kung hindi siya isusulat sa CPP, ibig sabihin hindi siya standard. Maaring i-implement, maaring hindi. Pero kung nasa polisiya, mas mataas yung tsansa na ma-implement siya kasi it's a written policy or rule already. Now, para sa mga participants sa ating webinar ngayon, no? So, meron akong ibibigay na bit.ly link na itatype natin doon sa meeting natin sa ating webinar. At para sa mga schools, ito ay isang babasahin na kung saan merong social media policy template para tulungan kayo na magsimula sa inyong adjustment ng school-based child protection policy in the new normal. Okay. Sa pagkakarap noong school-based child protection policy, napaka-importante na i-ensure natin yung meaningful participation ng learners. Meaning sa policy making sa school level, kailangan may consultation at hindi lamang tokenism, hindi lamang yung symbolic participation, kailangan totoong participation kasi at the end of the day, ang maapektuhan ng polisiya ay yung mga bata. Ito ay para sa kanila. Yun. So ngayon dumako tayo doon sa pangalawang strategy, no, yung integrating cyber safety and digital citizenship in education. So basically, dalawa yung main topics na kailangan natin pag-isipan. Paano mo i-integrate yung child protection and digital citizenship? Okay. So itong next idea na to, this is more for the teachers kasi sila yung magde-deliver ng learning. So yung mga guro, pwede nilang i-determine kung saang subject area at anong learning competency sa K-12 curriculum pwedeng pumatake yung cyber safety and digital citizenship. Paano siya i-integrate? Hindi kailangan gumawa ng bagong subject or ibang lesson, for example, on this topic kasi pwede siyang i-integrate basta maaabot yung learning competency. Ngayon, pag nakita na kung saang subject area pwede siyang i-integrate, maraming existing learning resources na tumutukoy sa cyber safety and digital citizenship in education. So, meron kaming cyber safety resources mula sa Stairway Foundation no kung saan sa last slide ibibigay ko yung mga links kung paano nyo siya madadownload ng libre at ma-review. Siyempre, andyan yung digital tayo ng Facebook. And then, last but not the least, of course, yung MT40 ng SEAMEO na pwedeng gamitin ng mga guro towards this strategy, no? Tapos for learners, no, napaka-importante na kailangan maisip nyo din na pwede kayong mag-lead towards thinking about conceptualizing, and implementing school-based cyber safety campaigns and initiatives. Kasi yung pagkakatuto, hindi lamang siya dapat nakakulong sa apat na sulok ng paaralan. You have to think of campaigns kasi ito yung pinakamataas na level ng child participation at kayo bilang mga kabataan, bilang mga learners, makikinig sa inyo yung kapwa niyo estudyante. So think about this, paano niyo siya isusulong once you learn this inside your classroom or in the online class or in modules, for example, no? Paano niyo siya further irradiate sa iba niyong mga kaeskwela or kasama sa paaralan. So ito yung mga links kung saan pwede nyo ma-download yung mga materials, no? So andito yung aming website, ito yung e-learning portal namin, at ito yung cybersafe.asia, andito yung mga resources, at please follow us in Facebook. So ito yung aming Facebook account or Facebook page, okay? So with that, maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you very much, Sir Ace. Safety in online school is an angle I personally did not consider before you shared this. Indeed, students spend a lot, if not most of their time in online schoolwork. I realized that abuse and exploitation can also happen there. Thank you so much, Sir Ace, and we'll see you at the Q&A. I hope everyone took note of the resources Sir Ace shared. We encourage you to visit these resources, especially students and teachers, to keep yourselves and others safe in the online school environment. I hope you're still attentive because we have another set of questions for you. So everyone, if you want to join our games, go to kahoot.it and enter the code 218-1171. Okay. Right. So for our question after Sir Ace, this is a true or false question. Digital citizenship needs to be a separate subject in school. Is this true or false? True for blue, red for false. For those who are using mobile, you need to switch back to Zoom in order to see the choices in the question. Blue true, red false, diamond true, triangle false. All right, so the answer is false. It doesn't have to be a separate subject in school. All right, next question. Okay, Swift Stork is still leading, but Glad Shark is catching up. Okay. Next question. This is a quiz again, multi-select quiz. So you have to select all the correct answers. What should be included in the school's code of conduct for online classes? Red, how teachers interact with learners. Blue, how learners interact with their co-learners. Yellow, how learners interact with outsiders. And green, how learners interact with their teachers. Red, teacher to learner. Blue, interaction between co-learners. Yellow, with outsiders. Green, learner with teachers. Okay, so the correct answers are teacher to learners, learner with their co-learners, and learners with their teacher. All right. We are certain that you have learned a lot from our experts, but we also want to hear from one of our participants as well. So in order for us to hear from our participants, we have invited a guest, Christian Vania Benoza, a student from Quezon City Science High School, to share her thoughts on what we have learned so far. Hello, Vanya.
Hello, sir. I think from this webinar, the part that stood out to me the most is the need for the code of conduct and how teachers and learners interact with each other, because I think that there is truly a big difference if we teach people how to interact with each other and to think about what they say before it goes out there, because that has an impact. And the thing that I realized from this is that the internet maybe is a beautiful space for learning and for information, but at the same time, it has a lot of dangers. And if we are able to find that perfect balance between courting those dangers and being able to stay away from them, but at the same time harnessing the internet for our own power and advantage and for our own use, we'll be able to not only create more educated students, but at the same time, a more educated audience in a more digital space. And I think as a student, what I can do in my own class is to be able to share what I have learned today in a small way. And at the same time, to not tolerate these things when you see them, to speak out when needed, and to just be a concerned citizen, to be present and to listen always, and to make sure that you are truly being a leader in your own right. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much, Vanya. It was nice to hear the thought of our learner, Vanya, from Quezon City Science High School. And indeed, if you want to be of help speak out, encourage others to learn more about online safety. And yes, Vanya, I hope you really apply what we learn here and share it with your classmates in Quezon City Science High School. Okay, thank you very much again, Vanya. Now we are going to our Q&A session. We would like to invite our speakers, Mr. Tuan Dang from UNESCO Bangkok, Ms. April Correa from Save the Children, and Mr. Ace Diloy from Stairway Foundation. Can you turn on your camera and mics, please? Okay, there we are. I can see Ms. April and Sir Ace. So we have questions from our viewers for you. Okay, good morning po. I hope you're okay. Hi, Sir Ace. Hi, Ms. April. Hope you can hear me. Okay, so we have questions po for Ms. April from YouTube. This is from Don Castro. So Ms. April, ang question niyo po, I would like to know your thoughts po sana on those people who sell explicit photos or videos of themselves online, especially on Twitter. So if you have also watched the news or browsed Facebook, may mga ganito raw pong pangyayari, Ms. April. What are your thoughts on these?
Yeah, actually, meron nga last year, it was brought to our attention na may mga minors na nagre-Christmas sale pa sila ng kanilang nude, explicit photos and videos. So that's clearly a form of sexual exploitation. Kahit naman sabihin pa na they're doing it out of their own will, the fact that they are exchanging these photos and they are being bought by sabihin na natin quote-unquote customers nila, or we never know, baka ang bumibili ay pedophiles. The fact that there is exchange, that's the very definition of exploitation. May merong kapalit na ibibigay sa isang tao, or in this case, a minor. So in this case, it's usually money for, they say that it's for their online classes or it's for their gadgets in exchange for this explicit photos and videos. So nagkalat ito sa Twitter. Actually, these are very public accounts. So yun, it's a form of sexual exploitation of children.
Okay, thank you, Ms. April. So this includes po yung mga consensual na transactions, no, Ms. April?
Yeah, kasi actually yung ating mga the partners that we have here sa local level, especially the SWT, they actually termed it as self-generated, quote-unquote, na parang paraan ng pagbebenta ng kanilang photos and videos, explicit photos and videos online. So kahit pa consensual siya, as long as may kapalit, may bayad, then that is still clear.
Okay, Ms. April. What about po yung mga areas when people say na for fans-only pages, which is also something na prevalent ngayon online? What can you say about these naman po?
Well, I've only heard of OnlyFans, but I do not know how it actually works. But basta I would just like to stress that any material that are explicit or sexual in nature, tas pinagkakakitaan, regardless if it's consensually given by a minor or lalo na pag may facilitator siya, because under the law that's already that's already trafficking. Under the law, punishable talaga na bibili ka ng mga ganyang content from minors, no? So that's still sexual exploitation. These are very private photos and you sexual in nature, and kapag nabili yan, pag nagbayad ka, the perpetrator can always choose to share it to other people or tawag nito, ibenta niya. So kawawa yung bata. They might think that they are earning money kasi kailangan nila for school or kailangan nila for any other purpose, pero hindi na nila alam kung sino yung maka-access ng content nila. There is no guarantee that the person who are buying the content from them, sila lang talaga yung nakakakita.
Thank you. Thank you po. Meron pong question dito from Jello, Miss April. How can digital users nowadays, especially the teens having online business, protect themselves from digital predators since they need to make their account in public to attract clients?
If may online businessman na gustong i-run ang isang minor, it's better if mayroon siyang parent or guardian na kausap about it and gina-guide siya for whatever online business it may be. Second, as part sa sa mga videos na nakita kanina and the tips that were shared, palawakin natin yung knowledge natin about digital safety, maging proactive tayo in checking settings, in checking the people na nag-a-add sa atin, kung ito ba ay bagong gawa na account or very fishy ba ang mga sinasabi niya, or if you're uncomfortable of someone who is trying to do business with you, with the way they speak to you, or their information itself na binibigay about themselves is hindi ka panipaniwala, then it's okay to disengage. Marami pang ways or marami pang tao that might be interested and would patronize your business kung meron man. We do not have to sacrifice our safety. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. April, for that advice po, no? Now we have a question from YouTube coming from Jeffrey Buza. I think Cesar Ace would be the appropriate person to answer this. Ms. April, you can follow up on this question. Any comment po regarding sa mga sa mga teachers that are sexual predators, practice teachers that are sexual predators and child groomers? How can students report this abuse if takot po sila?
Sige, thank you for the question. And I think it's also connected to one of the questions in our Zoom chat box, wherein someone is asking, I think it's Johan is asking, what if teachers are sexually harassing the students? So these are, well, basically they are the same question. No? So first, dun sa YouTube question, the context is practice teachers. Okay. So DepEd, the Department of Education, has very clear protocols in terms of the child protection policy. So ano yung child protection policy again? It's a national policy of DepEd wherein schools are guided on defining what are prohibited actions or behaviors in terms of teacher to student interaction, and also what are the protocols or kung ano yung gagawin kung may magkaroon ng breach with regards to these protocols. So dun sa YouTube question, practice teacher. And under the DepEd policy on child protection, regardless siya kung full-time teacher, yung hired na teacher, or even a practice teacher. Because a practice teacher basically exerts authority over learners sa konteksto ng roles nila within the school. And thus, the rules applicable for the rules are applicable for both for practice teachers and teachers in general, no? So ano yung gagawin? Learners have to understand na every school is mandated to follow the DepEd Child Protection Policy, whether you are a private or public school. And under the DepEd Child Protection Policy, may structure na binabanggit doon, na kung saan doon tayo magre-report kung meron tayong sitwasyon na kung saan posibleng abusive na, whether physical, mental, or sexual abuse. And yun yung tinatawag na School Child Protection Policy. Ngayon, napaka-realistic na situation na kung saan minsan maaring hindi active yung school child protection policy, and the most important thing is for the student who might be experiencing this is to report this to their advisor, to their teacher, or the guidance counselor, kasi by reporting it, may basic assumption tayo na kailangan sundin ng school personnel yung protocols na hinain sa kanila. Na kung saan pag nag-report yung bata sa kahit kaninong school personnel ng ganitong insidente, automatic yon kailangan i-refer ni teacher o ni school personnel sa principal para matrigger yung protocol under DO number 40. At kung saan doon sa protocols na yon, meron doon proseso kung saan kailangan i-report ng school sa proper authorities like law enforcement o social welfare yung ganong insidente, and even sa disciplining authority ng DepEd. na kung saan maaring ito ay sa division office or sa regional office. So napaka-importante mag-report. Okay? Mag-report tayo sa ating school head or sa ating guidance or sa ating advisor sa school. So hindi siya mareresolba kung hindi tayo magre-report. At hindi pwedeng baliwalain yung report kasi nasa polisiya yon ng DepEd. Kailangan i-trigger yung proseso.
Okay, thank you, Sir Ace. So everyone, remember, you have to report yung incidents. Don't keep this to yourself and confide in people na you trust, especially mga school heads po natin. Sir Ace, we have a follow-up question. The safeguarding schools in the new normal looks like a very valuable resource for school heads. What about naman daw po yung ALS, or is there any similar version or edition for ALS, Alternative Learning System program, which targets out-of-school youth?
Napaka-interesting ng question kasi yung dokumento na pinrepare namin, syempre siya ay suggestion lang, no, from Stairway kasi depende sa school kung i-adopt nila or hindi. Pero sa level ng DepEd, sa central office, actually this has already been talked about at the central office kung saan nagka-craft ngayon ang central office ng isang updated policy on child protection para tukuyin itong mga policy gaps na ito tulad nga nung sa ALS. Kasi medyo kakaiba yung situation ng alternative learning system eh. Marami sa mga ALS students ay above 18 na. Pero under kasi sa DepEd Child Protection Policy, regardless of the age of the student, kahit above 18, covered siya noong child protection policy ng DepEd. And thus, habang inaantay natin yung updated policy na hopefully ilabas ng DepEd Central Office that also covers ALS, ito ay isang bagay or opportunity na pwedeng nang pagtuunan ng pansin ng mga schools with ALS na kung saan pwede na actually nilang i-localize yung child protection policy ng DepEd to also take into account yung ALS. Pero napaka-importante nga nung consultation even with the ALS learners or students, no? So yun, short answer, we wait for the updated policy, pero while we're waiting, schools can already sort of initiate a localization process for the policy. Ngayon, kung dumating yung polisiya at hindi tugma dun sa na-localize na policy, of course, ang magte-take into effect yung national policy, yung central office policy. Pero while we're waiting for it, please do take steps in order to think about this particular scenario.
Okay, thank you, educational leaders. I hope you were able to take note of Sir Ace's suggestion, localize itong mga policies na ito, and hopefully soon enough, meron na tayong nationwide na policy that we can all refer to. Ms. April, would you like to join the conversation?
Okay. Sir, nothing to add. I think Sir Ace was able to explain it thoroughly.
Okay. May follow-up question po pala about that, Sir Ace. Paano daw po if there is no evidence na nakuha regarding the harassment or abuse?
Very good, yeah. Very good question. Naka-state specifically sa child protection policy ng DepEd na ang pwedeng i-report ay both confirmed or yung may ebidensya tayo and suspected cases. We have to understand that the act of reporting, of disclosure and reporting this to the school does not necessarily mean na guilty na agad yung ating pinaparatangan. Doon sa proseso o protocol sa binabanggit ko kanina na matitrigger via reporting, kasama doon yung investigation. Kaya lang, when we are talking about sexual abuse and exploitation, wala ito, yung investigation is not in the domain of the school. Kung kaya't napaka-importante na intindihin ng mga schools yung protocols kasi kapag inimbestigahan to ng school, technically bawal yon kasi that is a criminal offense. Iba yung domain for investigation kaya doon sa protocol na yon nakalatag doon kung kailan ire-report outside, meaning sa law enforcement or social welfare. And if the allegation is sexual in nature, investigation is not within the domain of the school. The domain of the school in that scenario is tanggapin yung report ng bata, i-report ito via the Child Protection Committee to other stakeholders like law enforcement and social welfare, and then report the incidents to the higher authorities within DepEd, like the division or regional office, para matrigger naman yung administrative investigation. Kasi it's both an administrative complaint and a criminal complaint. Posible na sabay yun. So, para lang maintindihan ng mga ating kasamahan dito na estudyante, no? Pag criminal, ibig sabihin, pwedeng makulong yung nirereklamo. Pag administrative, pwedeng matanggal sa trabaho. So sabay yun na ginagawa. In cases of sexual abuse committed by a personnel against a learner or a student.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Ace, for clarifying that note. It is both an administrative complaint and a criminal complaint. So everyone, let's take note of the proper authorities na nag-handle nito mga cases na ito. Okay, unfortunately, we are out of time. We still have more interesting questions that I personally would like to ask then. But yes, thank you very much, Sir Ace, Miss April, for teaching us how to become responsible and empowered digital citizens. We hope to see you again, and we hope that more people will hear about what you told us today. Thank you so much po talaga. So to cap off our Session 1, we would like our viewers and participants to answer a question. But I think we already sneaked this question a while ago, so we can see yung answers ng ating mga participants. Can we share it in the screen? All right. So we have 30 answers submitted. The question was, what makes you feel safe in online school? So we sneaked this question a while ago. All right, let's show the answers. Some people answered, may assurance of privacy that makes them feel safe. No contamination on COVID-19. Of course, that also makes you feel safe because we're online and we are behind screens. Knowing that my identity is anonymous, that makes them feel safe online. And of course, I feel safe online when I know that my important and personal information is safe. Online schooling will be safe if monitored by a learning facilitator. Tama? Protected ng passwords. And lastly, when I know proper protocols. We have more answers pa pala. School policies and guidelines, teachers that practice safety as online platforms, whether personal or official matter. Online schooling in this pandemic time is a big help in all of us. We are not infected by the virus, yet we are still added with knowledge and other learnings. Okay, and lastly, I feel safe in an online school if there is an agreement between the school, its teachers and learners about the rules on how to conduct the online interventions. The school must have a policy and learners should be involved in upholding these policies. Thank you so much for those answers. So for those who were not able to submit their answers, don't worry. It's not. It does not count. It does not really count in the pointing. So later on, baka meron pa kayong chance to catch up. We will have a break for 10 minutes, but while waiting, you can watch the videos from our event partners, the National Privacy Commission, BDO Foundation, and Institute Justice of British Columbia. After the videos, we will be right back, so hang in there, and we'll see you again later.
Hi everyone, welcome to another session of PSST Online. I'm Attorney Lane Lumanog from the National Privacy Commission, here to talk to you about ways you can protect yourself in your online classroom. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you why it is a must to protect your own information. You see, your information as a student or anything that is related to your education is considered as sensitive personal information under the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Why is it sensitive? It is sensitive because the violation or the misuse of this information can lead to your discrimination, a loss of your privacy rights, and your freedom as an individual. So that is why the law gives greater protection to your sensitive personal information. Now, while schools are required to come up with measures to secure and protect your personal information that they have in their systems and in their record, it doesn't mean that you should just stand by and watch. You can take the initiative to protect your own data by these 5 ways. Number 1, be familiar with your own school's online learning guidelines if there are any. So these guidelines can include the proper platform to use in your online discussions, your group discussions, where you will submit your requirements or your projects, as well as guidelines on the recording of online lectures, and guidelines as to how you will conduct yourself as a student during these online discussions, whether you should be opening your camera or be on mute the entire time and things like that. So make sure to use only authorized platforms for your schoolwork. It would be best if social media isn't used. However, if it's the only option left, make sure that the settings are made private and that you limit access to only your classmates and your teacher. Your school may have a policy on the recording of online lectures, but I'm pretty sure you want to have your own personal recording, so you might want to record it on your phone while the class is going on. However, make sure that this is allowed by your school's policy, or if there is none, be sure that your classmates are aware of it and that you have obtained your classmates and your teacher's permission to record the lecture. Number 2, use a separate email if possible and never give your password to anyone. Nowadays, we use our own personal email in almost everything related in the internet, be it logging in or signing up into different apps or creating accounts in different websites. But the threat to hacking is always there. So if one account is compromised, other accounts where you may have used your personal email may be in danger as well. So if possible, create a separate and dedicated email account for your school needs. You can use this email to log into your school account if you have one, or use this email to submit school requirements. This goes without saying that never give your password to anyone. Number 3, change your background during your online class or discussion. This is very simple. Just use an image to change your background in the online platform that you're using during your classes. Unless you live alone, it would be best if your background is something other than your home. You can keep your home environment private as well as protect the privacy of others who are living in your household. Number 4, be cautious about sharing your personal information in public. People are almost always willing to disclose anything and everything about themselves. Who they're with, where they are, what they ate, even pics of their passport to show where they went. Pics or didn't happen, right? But in data privacy, this is very wrong. If you post this information in public, you never know who can access that data, get a hold of it, and do whatever they want with it. It can lead to your identity being compromised. So don't forget that your classroom is also a public space. Only share information that is required and to only those authorized to get them. And now we go to the final one, number 5, respect other people's privacy. As the golden rule says, do unto others as you would like to do to you. If you want other people to respect your privacy, respect the privacy of others as well. Don't share or post in your personal social media accounts screen caps of your lectures or discussions with your classmates or your teachers in them without their consent. Remember that photos are also personal information and they must be used appropriately. But if you must post because pics or didn't happen, make sure to blur or put stickers on their faces and their names. This keeps their identity protected and their privacy respected. I'm sure you will appreciate if your classmates and even your teacher did the same thing. So that's it. Thank you for your attention and for listening. I hope you learned a thing or two in this quick lecture. Don't forget to check out the other PSST online videos as well as our website privacy.gov.ph and check out 30 ways to love yourself online. Again, this is Attorney Laine Lumanog helping you to protect your own data privacy. Thank you and bye!
Amy, gabi na ikaw na lang nandito. Uwi na ako ah.
Oh, sige, ingat.
Congrats ulit, milyonaryo ka na.
Salamat! Sige! Kala ko ba umuwi ka na? Naku, nakakatakot naman itong mga online scam na to. Congratulations. You just won 100,000 pesos. Load 500 to this number to get your cash prize. Ay, naku po. Nakakakilabot naman itong mga text scam na to.
Teacher Amy, pwede po ba kayong mag-donate sa Children's Ghost Foundation? Mag-donate ka!
Oh, pati ba naman mga bata ginagamit sa charity scams na yan?
Teacher Amy, dodobleng pera mo sa investment na ito. Garantisado! Pumirma ka na dito, dali!
Uwi na nga ako. Minumulto na ako ng mga investment scams na yan.
Multi-level business. Mag-recruit ka na. Titriple ang pera mo.
Muntik na ako mabiktima ng pyramiding scam na yan.
Dapat matakot sa mga scams na yan. Maging mapanuri at mag-ingat kayo sa pagpapalago ng inyong kinikita. Maraming legitimate investment products kung saan pwedeng lumago ang ating pera. Gaya ng stocks, bonds, real estate, treasury bills, at UITF. Kumonsulta sa inyong bangko at iba pang financial institutions para sa investment products na bagay sa inyo.
Understanding cybersecurity and protecting your digital identity. If it's too good to be true online, then it probably is. You probably wouldn't talk to, share photos with, or give out personal information to a stranger on the street, and the same applies online. Social media accounts are easy to make, but take your time choosing the highest privacy settings. Google yourself and see what information and images appear. This is your digital persona. Once it's posted, it may be permanent. People believe deleting something online means removing it from the internet forever. In reality, that's not always accurate. Before you hit like, send, post, tweet, retweet, think twice before posting something you may regret later. Your favorite nickname won't cut it. Keeping your online activity safe begins with choosing secure passwords or passphrases with a mix of symbols, numbers, and capital letters. Your time on social media isn't your full life story. With perfect Instagram feeds and beautiful TikToks, it's really important to remember that the lifestyles portrayed online are only part of the story. Despite how it looks from the outside, nobody's life is perfect, and follower accounts don't define your meaningful offline relationships. Being online for excessive amounts of time may have a problematic impact on other areas of life, such as school and sleep. It's really important to know when it's time to unplug and spend time away from the screens, especially on our smartphones. Being online can be fun, generate creativity, and allow for the making of some really awesome experiences. Using the previously outlined tips will only increase your safety, your security, and your peace of mind. Thanks for listening.
So welcome back again to Digital Wellbeing of Filipino Learners, a webinar on youth, cyber safety, and digital citizenship. On our first session, we learned about the risks that learners face online. We also discussed some steps that schools may take to ensure the safety of their learners online. Now, for our next session, we will focus on digital citizenship, the responsible use of technology and online platforms. But before we continue, here's another question for you. What is digital citizenship? In your own words, what do you think does digital citizenship mean? Ano sa tingin mo ang digital citizenship? Keep thinking and typing as we assign our Zoom participants for the breakout rooms to discuss digital citizenship topics featured on our e-citizenship learning packets. For our live broadcasts viewers, please don't leave because we still have prepared activities for you. Okay. All right, so let's see. We have a few seconds left for our game. Okay. All right. So some of the answers. Digital citizenship is about digital tools, identification, familiarizing to online learning, I guess, being responsible and presence in the web. Thank you so much for those answers. Now for our live viewers, we will be presenting a series of lectures relevant to our webinar. For the first video, our experts from the Educational Innovation Unit will tell us about digital etiquette, what it is, and how it affects our online life.
I would like to pick up the phone that I bought online from your store.
Good morning, Sir Louis. May I have your confirmation code, please?
It's 357973001.
Okay, let me repeat that. 3579730001. All right, I can see that you purchased the Pineapple X. What time would you like to pick it up?
In about an hour?
All right, sir. Just approach our customer service staff and we'll have your Pineapple phone ready. By the way, sir, would you like to avail of our recent promotion?
Oh, what is it?
Would you like your phone to come with an etiquette?
A what?
An etiquette.
What do you mean, etiquette?
Etiquette, sir. Meaning the standards to follow when using digital technology like the Pineapple X phone. In other words, manners.
Oh, sure. I'd love to have manners.
If only technology use comes with etiquette, right? The etiquette part of technology use is what we bring in. Etiquette is one of those things that technology cannot automate. With technology comes new ways of doing things. Information is shared easily, in fact, instantaneously. And the potential for wider reach of information to a bigger audience is there. Technology also allows a certain degree of anonymity, if we so desire. With these potentials comes the challenges. While young people are really good at technology, perhaps even better than their teachers, most of them are more adept at using it for entertainment or social networking. But for purposes such as education, helping others, or even nation building, perhaps not so much. That is both a challenge and an opportunity for us teachers. Our role then as teachers is more than just teaching manners. It's also about teaching them for a higher purpose and being more responsible. As teachers, it is our responsibility to now model digital etiquette to our students. Much of the standards of digital etiquette is the same as in face-to-face interaction. People just tend to make a distinction or create a notion that they can do away with it, probably because digital technology had made it easier for them to do. The idea of respect for oneself, for others, and the community is constant, whether through face-to-face interaction or through the digital world. Respect for oneself, staying positive, not spreading negativity, and not posting anything that you may regret in the future. Protecting your privacy. These are all manifestations of showing respect for yourself in the digital world. Respect for others and the community involves being aware of how you interact or engage with other people using digital technologies.
One important element attached to respect and etiquette is socio-emotional skills. This includes self-management or self-regulation, self-awareness, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. On the digital world, we're now very much connected, especially through social media, blogs, video games, online forums, avenues like these. However, with all these technology available to us, with just a click of a button, it's easy to forget that behind these social media accounts or online game avatars, there are real persons with feelings, families, goals, values, and aspirations. The anonymity offered by the internet can sometimes make us act in careless and insensitive ways. This is why self-management or regulation is very important. Together with self-regulation is the skill of self-awareness or being able to reflect upon one's own actions. Social awareness and relationship skills, on the other hand, are important in predicting and detecting how others might feel or react to your words or actions online. These skills will help people prevent cyberbullying, trolling, cyberstalking, and other negative digital engagements. Basically, these skills allow people to make responsible decisions online. Instead of just saying, don't do this or don't do that online to your students, you can create positive activities and discussions to engage students in talking about these topics. Digital etiquette also highlights the importance of empathy. This concept of empathy is very much related to self-awareness and self-regulation. Basically, empathy is being able to understand and consider the feelings of other people. It's being able to put yourself in the shoes of other people. It allows us to see what we are doing in the eyes of other people that we communicate or interact with. Practicing empathy in the digital world can be so much harder. One, because digital technology offers anonymity, and also you don't get immediate feedback nor any sense of consequence. That's why it's easy to hide behind technology. Cyberbullying is actually one of the biggest concerns or challenge faced by schools today in relation to digital technology. Cyberbullying, in its most basic terms, is using ICT to upset or even harass someone online. Cyberbullying can include harassment, stalking, rumor spreading, defaming, belittling, trolling. These are all examples of cyberbullying. I think this is what happens when people fail to demonstrate and observe digital etiquette. In an instance of cyberbullying, you can either be the perpetrator or the bully, the victim or the target. You can be a bystander, someone who just watches and decides to do nothing, or an upstander, someone who steps up and decides to fight for what she or he thinks is right. Analyzing an instance of cyberbullying and deciding who you're going to be, the role you're going to play, actually requires critical skills. And these in themselves are critical skills, and they're all part of digital etiquette.
Digital etiquette and the use of technology go together. It's not a choice between one or the other. In fact, digital technology can improve the way we engage with people. This is both a challenge and an opportunity for teachers. Technology is so prevalent that teachers and students are learning it at the same time. There's also the challenge that since students are digital natives, what we, the older generation, perceive of as poor digital etiquette are actually perceived differently by the students. We have recognized this, and so in SEAMEO INNOTECH, we have developed a set of tools called Mobile Technology for Teachers, or MT4T. And these include a material that discusses digital etiquette.
Whether it be online or offline, we all need to be in touch with other people's feelings and mind how they will receive our words. Online interaction between two people is still a human-to-human interaction, so we have to consider those who we are interacting with. As people living in the digital age, we have to strive to be better digital citizens. Our event partner, Facebook Philippines, Digital Tayo, will share tips to combat misinformation. Especially in this time of pandemic, how can we distinguish between what's true and what's not? So let's watch this video.
Matindi talaga ang epekto ng COVID-19 pandemic, hindi lang sa kalusugan, kundi pati na rin sa social media. Kasama sa pagkalat ng virus ang mabilis din na pagkalat ng mali o peking balita tungkol sa COVID-19. Hi guys, my name is Jello, ang inyong Digital Tayo Trainer. Sa panahon ngayon, napakahalagang magkaroon ng ligtas at responsableng komunidad. Siyempre, kasama na dito ay ang pagiging mapanuri sa iba't ibang balita na nakikita natin sa social media. Lalo na kung ito ay tungkol sa COVID-19. Marami talagang impormasyon ang pwedeng makuha sa Facebook. Ngunit sa dami ng impormasyon, paano mo ito maisusuri kung ito ay totoo o hindi? Narito ang ilan sa mga tips na pwede mong magamit upang masuri kung totoo ang balita. Number 1, suriin ang headline ng mga balita. Minsan, talaga namang agaw pansin ang mga headline ng mga peking kwento o balita. Kadalasan, naka all caps o malalaking letra at gumagamit ng maraming exclamation point. Tandaan, kapag may mga kagulat-gulat na pamagat o tila hindi ka panipaniwala, marahil hindi ito totoo. Number 2, tignan mabuti ang URL. Tignan kung ang link ng balita ay mula sa website ng isang lehitimong news outlet o ng isang government agency. Karamihan sa mga website na nagkakalat ng maling balita ay nanggagaya ng lehitimong website sa pamamagitan ng pagbabago ng kaunti sa URL nito. Maaaring pumunta sa mismong website para masuri, makilatis, at makumpara ang URL sa lehitimong source. Number 3, maging mapanuri sa mga litrato. Marami ng paraan ngayon para ma-edit ang mga litrato o video na nilalabas ng mga lehitimong source. Siguruhin galing ito sa verified page ng source. Minsan, bagamat totoo ang litrato, ginagamit ito sa hindi angkop na konteksto. Maaring hanapin ang mga litrato o mga larawang ito sa internet upang masuri ang pinagmulan nito. Number 4, suriin ang mga ebidensya. Suriin ang mga nilagay na impormasyon. Alamin kung ito ba ay totoong ebidensya ng balita. Kung kulang ang katibayan o kaduda-duda ang pinanggagalingan ng laman ng sinulat o ang kredibilidad ng eksperto, maaaring ang binabasa mo ay hindi totoo. Number 5, tumingin pa ng ibang balita. Kung walang iba pang news outlet o government agency ang nag-uulat ng naturang kwento o balita, posibleng hindi ito totoo. Kapag ang isang kwento o balita ay inuulat ng maraming pinagkakatiwalaang pahayagan, mas malaki ang tsansa na totoo ito. Gaya ng pagsugpo sa COVID-19, makakatulong ka sa pagpapahinto ng pagkalat ng mga maling kwento o balita. Simple lang, iwasan ang pag-share ng mga hindi verified na impormasyon. Maging mapanuri sa mga binabasa at mag-share lamang ng kwento o balita na sigurado ang kredibilidad at katotohanan. Mahalaga rin na mai-report mo ang kahina-hinalang post o message para hindi na ito kumalat pa. Paano? I-click ang 3 dots button na makikita sa upper right ng post. Click Report Post. Piliin ang I think it shouldn't be on Facebook at i-click ang It's a false news story. Para makita ang status ng iyong report, i-check ang iyong support inbox. May option din para i-block ang isang tao o isang page. Huwag matakot mag-report ng mali at peking impormasyon dahil hindi malalaman ang inyong identity. Lahat ng mga nai-report sa Facebook ay masinsinang inire-review at tinatanggal kapag lumabag ito sa community standards. Here's a quick summary of the tips. Number 1, suriin ang headline ng mga balita. Number 2, tignan mabuti ang URL. Number 3, maging mapanuri sa mga litrato. Number 4, suriin ang mga ebidensya o detalye sa balita. At number 5, tumingin pa ng ibang mga balita na sumusuporta dito. Gaya ng social distancing na ginagawa kontra sa COVID-19, umiwas din tayo sa mga misinformation at makiisa sa pagpapakalat ng authentic at lehitimong balita. Tayo ay miyembro ng iisang digital community. May tungkulin ang bawat isa. Kaya mo na bang matukoy kung ang post ay hindi totoo? Comment down below and share your thoughts. Abangan ang mga susunod na webinar at sabay-sabay tayong maging responsableng digital citizen sa panahon ngayon. Stay healthy and safe. Para sa karagdagang impormasyon tungkol sa digital literacy, maaaring pumunta sa www.digitaltayo.fb.com at sa Facebook COVID-19 Information Center.
Thank you to our partner Digital Tayo for that video. To test what you learned from the last video, we have a very short mini game for you folks. We'll show you pictures on the screen and you have to guess if they are fake or real. First one to comment the correct answer will receive a prize from SEAMEO INNOTECH. So this is for our live viewers. Okay, first picture, right? This one, fake or real, pigfish. So comment if it is fake or real. First one to comment will receive a prize. Okay, next one. We have this. National Geographic photographer was eaten alive by a giant ocean fish. Is this fake or real? Comment your answers. Right, next. This one, Einstein bicycles as an atomic bomb explodes in the background. So is this fake or real? Okay. All right, those are our slides. So that's it for our minigame. In the next video, our colleague from the Educational Innovations Unit, Mr. Ben Santos, will share some tools that can help teachers deliver lessons on digital citizenship.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well amid the pandemic. I'm Benedict Santos from SEAMEO INNOTECH. I would like to present Mobile Technology for Teachers, or MT4T. It's a teacher resource kit on the use of mobile technology for 21st century learning. During the pandemic, we see how our physical mobility is heavily restricted because of the threat of the virus to our health and safety. As a response, many of us have turned to the digital space to help fulfill some of our needs. After all, our mobility in the digital space seems to remain unhampered. At this point, though, I would like to offer a caveat, a warning, a reminder that while we encourage the use of mobile technology to support teaching and learning, digital technology is not the panacea for all the problems and challenges that surround distance learning during the pandemic. Educators like yourselves must take great care to ensure that the alternative delivery mode that you choose does not leave anyone behind. Remote learning via the internet is not possible for every learner. Not everyone has the equipment, internet connectivity, physical space, and even the support system to make digital learning at home possible. Nevertheless, mobile and digital technologies still remain a viable option to support remote learning. In fact, there is an opportunity now to gear up the education system for the future of learning. So that leads me to my next slide. The goal of the resource kit is to encourage the use of mobile technology for teaching and learning, specifically to promote higher order thinking skills among students. However, that can only be possible if teachers are equipped with necessary skills and knowledge. And that's what the resource kit provides. The current demographics of teachers in the Philippines show that many are digital immigrants. These are people who were born before the internet and digital technologies became popular and widespread. On the other hand, students today are what we call digital natives. They are born in the age of digital technology and they grow up surrounded by it. This difference can be the source of disconnect or gap between teachers and students. So another goal of the project is to help narrow that gap so that teachers are able to more meaningfully connect with students using the language they know best, technology. MT40, again, it's a teacher resource kit that promotes the use of mobile technology for professional development among teachers. Professional development includes the improvement of teaching strategies employed by educators like yourselves. The knowledge products were designed with the Southeast Asian teachers in mind. The resources included in the kit provide guidance on the use of mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets and the applications found on them as tools for teaching and learning and the teacher's personal and professional development. The resource kit also introduces the three most widely used operating systems for mobile devices, namely iOS, Android, and Windows. You can find information on these three platforms and how they are used in conjunction with other applications such as Edmodo, Twitter, and Facebook to support student learning and professional collaboration among teachers. As mentioned earlier, the MT40 resources are specifically focused on how mobile devices can be used to promote the development of higher order thinking skills of both students and teachers. The resource kit has three major components. These are the ebooks, the e-reader application, and the MT40 web portal. In the next slides, I'll be discussing each of these in more detail. So, the MT40 resource kit has a collection of free ebooks on the use of different applications. Currently, there are over 10 unique titles in the collection. I say unique because one ebook title can have as much as 3 versions specific to either iOS, Android, or Windows. These ebooks can help teachers develop their skills, knowledge, and values in using mobile technology for more interactive teaching and learning and for their own professional development as well. In every ebook, you can find a section that gives plenty of tips and strategies on how you can use the application to promote HOTS. Again, that's really one of the main goals of these resources, the promotion of HOTS among students and teachers. We also realize that proper behavior and cyber safety should go hand in hand with digital literacy. So you can also find in the ebooks discussions and tips on proper online etiquette for and digital safety of both teachers and learners. Later, I will discuss this resource in more detail. The second component of the resource kit is the SEAMEO INNOTECH Reader mobile application. It's a free application available for iOS, Android, and Windows phones and tablets. The e-reader allows for consistency in style, format, and readability of ebooks across all three operating systems. So the ebooks are preloaded onto the app. Upon saving copies of the ebooks on the application, the e-reader can then serve as an offline repository of the MT40 ebooks as well as other free publications of SEAMEO INNOTECH. The last component of the resource kit is the MT40 website, which is an online portal where you can download and read the ebooks, watch videos that parallel the step-by-step instruction found in the ebooks, and also connect with other educators in Southeast Asia through the website's online forum and specific discussion boards. So now we move on to one specific resource in the collection, the e-Citizenship. I said earlier that digital literacy should go hand in hand with digital safety and cyber wellness. That's the reason that we came up with resources that specifically promote the safe, ethical, responsible, and productive use of ICT. It is the resources aimed to help you play a powerful, positive role in helping young people use technology safely and considerately. You can impart knowledge, raise awareness, boost critical thinking, cultivate socio-emotional intelligence, and set good examples for learners. We understand, though, that all this depends on a thorough understanding of the complexities of the digital world and how young people interface with it. And the e-Citizenship resources are available to help you with that. The objectives of these specific resources on cyber wellness and digital citizenship are to first, raise your awareness about digital risks and opportunities, provide you with multiple strategies to empower learners to be more responsible users of technology, give you access to relevant resources about cyber wellness, help enhance the emotional intelligence of your students as a critical competency for safe and responsible digital citizenship. The e-Citizenship resources have two main components, the ebook and the learning packets. The e-Citizenship ebook is a tool for Southeast Asian teachers to become familiar with key themes on cyber wellness and digital citizenship. The book is primarily intended for elementary and secondary school teachers, but I'm sure that even college instructors and even education officials will find the content of the ebook very relevant for them. The information in the book is very general and covers multiple age groups. So teachers of both elementary and secondary will find relevant information in here. As digital technology is part of so many aspects of our lives, the lessons learned in the book can be integrated into a range of school subjects such as IT or computer science, values education, social studies, media studies, communication, and others. So just a quick enumeration of what you can expect to find in the book. So background on the changing cyberscape of the region and the world, concepts of digital citizenship, including digital safety and literacy, risks and opportunities of using ICT, strategies, both internal and external, on managing risks and opportunities, classroom activities for promoting critical thinking and socio-emotional intelligence as applied to the online world, and links to relevant organizations, policies, programs, and resources. The e-Citizenship ebook comes with what we call learning packets. So learning packets are the second component of the e-Citizenship resources. The learning packets are bundles of lesson plans and presentation slides that you can readily use to discuss topics and concepts that you've learned from the ebook. The learning packets are activity-based lesson plans that you can integrate in any relevant subject. Through experiential learning, students will internalize digital citizenship concepts better, develop values related to ICT use, and exhibit safe, healthy online behaviors. Every learning packet has a teacher's guide and a deck of presentation slides. The teacher's guide is solely for your consumption in preparing for the learning session. It's basically a summary of the activity to be conducted with the help of the PowerPoint. And of course, the subsequent steps to be done in line with the 5 A's learning sequence. The teacher's guide also provides information about the intended age range of the learning session, the time duration, materials needed, and the ways to adapt the lesson for other age groups and types of learner. The PowerPoint presentation, on the other hand, is what you can use to jumpstart a learning session in the classroom, virtual or physical. The presentation is available in editable format, so its content can also be modified or translated into other languages. The PowerPoint shall introduce an activity to the students and guide them through the subsequent steps of analysis, abstraction, application, and finally assessment. The objective of any learning session is for students to develop their awareness, critical thinking, and their socio-emotional intelligence so that they can be safe and responsible users of mobile technology. Some learning packets also come with additional materials like posters, cards, pictures, video clip links, or other resources. So these are presentables, printables, or manipulatives that learners will need to see or use during the learning activity. So currently, the topics covered by the learning packets are being mobile, cyberbullying, internet addiction, teenpreneurship, this is entrepreneurship, exposure to inappropriate content, herd mentality online, cyberstalking, plagiarism and misinformation, trolling, and cyber grooming and online exploitation. All of the learning packets follow the 5A's instructional design. So the 5A's instructional design, it starts with an activity and then followed by the subsequent steps of analysis, abstraction, application, and assessment. Starting the learning episode with an activity will make it more learner-centered and engaging. So now, I'm going to be giving you some tips on how you can adapt the learning packets for remote learning. The learning packets are designed to be used during face-to-face learning sessions. However, it only takes creativity to tweak the lesson plans and adapt them for remote or distance learning. My first tip is to modify the activity to make it suitable for your students' learning context. So basically, you don't just run the learning session online as it is described in the teacher's guide. Admittedly, in the learning packets, the most challenging part to modify is the activity. Some activities might work in a remote learning setup, but you also have to consider whether students have access to necessary resources, materials, or equipment, or even the physical space to do the activity. For example, in one of the lessons, students will be asked to create a vision board, just like the one shown on the screen. But not all students have art supplies at home. One alternative is to ask them to make a digital poster instead using a laptop or a smartphone. Other activities are much easier to do remotely. For instance, in the lesson on cyberstalking, there's just a quiz that students have to take. And you can easily set up a Google form for that, and that's it basically. In that same lesson, students will also be asked to check their password strength using a website and learn how to activate two-factor verification in their online accounts. Since you're already learning online, you just need to basically walk them through the steps to do those to strengthen their online privacy. So the second tip is to enlist the support of the student's family and other household members. Other lessons have more interactive activities. So there's role-playing and card games, for example. For these activities, you may suggest that students do these with family members at home. Of course, if parents or siblings are busy and can't help with the activity, you may just simply abandon the activity and replace it with something else that students can easily do at home. The teacher's guide will provide you with sufficient background information on the topic to help you think of activities that students can do to understand and internalize the concepts better. My third and last tip is to turn the teacher's guides themselves into self-instructional modules. This is especially useful for students with very limited access to the internet. And because of that, they cannot join your online learning sessions. It's going to take a bit more work to do this. You will have to simplify the language and modify the voice such that the materials, the self-instructional modules, speak to the students themselves. Of course, you will also have to modify the activity according to the general conditions of the students at home. So that's it. Those are my 3 tips on how you can adapt the learning packets for remote learning. First, modify the activity to suit the student's learning context. Enlist the support of household members. And lastly, you have the option to turn the teacher's guides into self-instructional modules for those students who have very limited access to the internet. So that ends my presentation. I invite you to head over to the MP40 website to check out our resources. And please download the free SEAMEO INNOTECH reader so you get access to the materials right on your mobile devices. For questions and concerns, you may send me an email at the address flashed on the screen. So thank you very much. I wish you all good health and safety.
Right, thank you, Ben. The e-citizenship, ebook, and learning packets are really helpful when delivering lessons on digital citizenship. The learning packet not only has lessons, but it also has interesting activities that will help our learners better understand the concepts. You can know more about the e-citizenship learning packets at www.SEAMEO-innotech.org/MT40. Okay. All right, the internet is a very powerful platform. Any post, regardless of accuracy, totoo man o hindi, can gain attention. Whatever we say online can affect others. It is important to keep in mind that there is a real person behind every name, every username, and every handle. Google Philippines reminds us to consider every interaction as person to person. Let's watch this video.
Noong unang beses akong papadpad sa internet, naghahanap lang ako ng babasahin sa isang mainit na paksa. Pagbalik ko, may nag-aaway na bigla. Pagbalik ko ulit, nagpapalitan na ng masasakit na salita. At pagbalik ko na naman, may damayan na ng pamilya. Sa mundo ng internet, lahat ng sinasabi ay mahirap bantayan. Ilang pirasong salita na walang patnubay. Mga litratong di naman tunay. At ang mas malala, di naman talaga natin kilala sa tunay na buhay. Kaya, bakit tayo humantong sa ganito? Bakit may mga birong hindi nakakatawa? Bakit may mga insultong madali lang sabihin sa iba? Mga tanong kung minsan, alam natin ang sagot pero mas madalas nating hindi ginagawa. Ang kalayaang maghayag, may kalakip na responsibilidad. Timbangin ko ito ba'y kaya magtulak sa bangin o magligtas kung madali lang maglabas ng mga nakasusugat na salita? Bakit hindi na lang natin ituon ng lakas para sa mas mabuting paggawa? Kung masakit sa mata, huwag mo i-like. Kung makakasakit ka, huwag mo i-type. Hindi lang iisa ang mukha ng pagtulong at pwedeng tugon ng pagsuporta. Maaari ring maging kaibigan sa mga hindi kakilala. Napakaraming pinto na pwedeng daan upang makapagbigay sigya. Kung ito man ay nasa simpleng pagbati ng isang magandang umaga o nasa tanong na, kumusta ka? Maging mabuting halimbawa sa mundo ng internet. Magmula sa pagpaskil ng post hanggang sa pag-share ng content. Malaya ka mag-unfollow. Mag-report ng post kung di ka aya-aya. Pero ang pinakamahalaga, ang pagrespeto sa kapwa. Itong aking winika ay isa lamang paalala na ang paggamit ng internet ay isang uri ng sandata. Maging wais, maging matalino, maging mabuti kahit kanino dahil ang responsableng paggamit nito ay refleksyon ng pagiging mabuting tao.
Mabilis, makapagbigay ng saya, madaling, makakilala ng mga makakasama, grabe, kung makagawa ng ingay, instant sikat kapag ikaw ay tsumamba, pwedeng magbago sa isang click lang, nakataya ang lahat. Maraming oportunidad ang makikita, mabilis ang biyaya sa isang post lang, marami ang magkakandarapa kaya tiyak, giginhawa ang buhay, pero ikaw rin ay sa panganib malalagay. Mahilig akong kumuha ng litrato, Lalo na kapag may napupuntahan na bago, ang sarap ibahagi sa mundo. Yung pakiramdam na check sa listahan, nakakamit ang mga bagay na iniyakan at matagal na pinag-ipunan. Ang hindi ko alam na ililista din ang aking mga napupuntahan ng mga taong nais akong pagsamantalahan. Mahirap malaman kung kailan sila nandyan. Ang tuso ay nagtatago sa 3,000 inakalang kaibigan. Mabilis ang pagnanakaw, konektado ang mga agaw, masipag ang mga nasa likod nito. Hindi ka titigilan dahil simula nang ikaw ay magpakilala, nakasunod na sa'yo ang kamera. Pati ang iyong tirahan, pinagmamasdan, kalkulado ang bawat daan. Isang type lang, address mo ay lalabas dyan. Nasa iyong paggamit ang layunin at resulta. Magkaroon ng disiplina sa sarili. Itago ang mga pribadong pag-aari. Maging maingat sa pagbabahagi. Doblehin ang pagmamatsyag. Huwag basta-bastang tumatanggap ng imbitasyon. Siguraduhin, kilala ang kaibigan na pagkakatiwalaan ng impormasyon. Pwede mong piliin at salain ang mga makakasama. Dahil dito sa mundo ng social media, buong mundo ang nakakakita. Piliin lang ang mga taong talagang kilala. Paniguradong, ligtas at masaya ang buhay sa loob at labas ng kamera.
Welcome back to the plenary, and I hope our Zoom participants had an enjoyable time in their breakout session. And I also hope our live viewers learned a lot from the videos that we showed about digital citizenship. These videos were provided by our event partners. You can access more relevant resources on their websites. So Zoom participants, don't worry, we will send these videos to you along with the other relevant materials through the online kit that you will receive. So aren't you curious about what happened in the breakout session? Let's hear from our Zoom participants what happened during their breakouts. But due to our limited time, we only have 3 minutes for each group to present. First, I would like to invite the representative of the youth group who discussed about internet addiction. I think we have Vanya Benoza again for this one. Hello, Vanya, are you here?
Hello po. It was a very fun discussion, very enlightening. We all enjoyed even though we were not able to open our mics. But the main goal or the main discussion from internet addiction was revolved around self-control, self-discipline, and the sudden realization that you need to stop because it's affecting other aspects of your life like academics and schoolwork and stuff like that. But at the same time, it was also highlighted that internet addiction is a mental issue. And what we can do to help is to also give the proper revenues when it's needed. So I think those are the two main things to sum up our discussion. It's self-control, but at the same time, when we know that it's a big serious case, know that it is also a mental issue and receive proper help. That's it.
Thank you, Vanya. That's a good emphasis. It is a mental issue, and that we need to practice self-control, especially when we are young. It's really harder to practice self-control. I can say so for myself. All right. So again, thank you, Vanya. This time, let's hear from the teacher group that discussed the same topic. You can please introduce yourself. Teacher RA, please introduce yourself, and you can speak in the language you're most comfortable with. Kahit Taglish lang po, okay? Hi, Teacher RA. Are you here?
Yes po.
Hello.
Hi everyone. Good morning. I'm RA from Xavier School New Valley. So we're given, I think, 6 sets of questions. And the first one is about remember. What do we remember from the activity? We were given, we did brainstorming and we used the De Bono's thinking hats. And I think it's a very effective tool to see the different perspective or facades of the problem, which is internet addiction. So I don't want to delve into the details anymore of the 6 hats, pero we take a look at it in a positive way, in a negative way, using feelings, etc. And then what have we realized? We learned that internet addiction is real, at least for me. It is not just a story or something that we see in the videos. So many are not aware of what exactly to do when similar situation happened in families or friends and even with our students. So I think the important thing that I can get from this is that awareness is helpful. It triggers things that would happen after. And as an Ignatian institution, we do Ignatian pedagogy, and I think I can apply our experience, reflection, and action platform in this problem. So this is a good experience for us teachers because it opens our minds and our hearts that problem happen, may it be not to our students, but to people, to Filipinos that are pag-asa of pag-asa ng bayan. And then it helps us to reflect. It opens up my mind that focus things has to be done. And action, what specific actions can we do? And I'm happy that SEAMEO is able to invite teachers like me to as an active approach to solve or at least to minimize the effects of this problem. So as for to do, I think from the sharing, what's nice is that the facilitator gave us a discovery test, and then it gave us teachers a starting point of where are we as far as internet addiction is concerned. And I think it's a good test to show our students too. And then as for online safety, how can we promote this one? I think I list down 3 things over here for practical reasons. One important is to share the video, share this webinar in our social media accounts, and then share the materials as mentioned by our facilitator called MP40. She mentioned that this one is available in the internet, so I'll definitely take a look at that. And then ask for help in finding violations. As a teacher, I think we need to act proactively. So we do not wait for reports of harassment, bullying, addiction. We can actually use this experience and inform references or informed researches coming from SEAMEO to take a look at the signs of these problems. And by doing so, we are not just, sitting around, we're looking out for such things before they happen. Next is, I'd like, personally, I'd like to integrate online safety practices in teaching, in my instruction, in conducting my synchronous Zoom sessions because we do online distance learning, and most especially in planning for my performance task and assessments. Because by doing so, I think I will integrate not only in my instruction, but also into the lifestyle of my students, how important internet safety is. And then lastly, this triggers I can ask my DC, I can ask my superior for initiating specific guidelines that does not just based on our feelings, but based on the DepEd orders, the recommendations coming from institutions like SEAMEO, and of course, the very good reference given by the Stairway Foundation. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Teacher RA. You shared a lot, and I hope everyone listened to your sharing. All right. Again, internet addiction. We're not only students are exposed to it, but also teachers, adults like Teacher RA, adult like me, and the staff of SEAMEO INNOTECH. So let's be careful and let us be aware. All right. Next group we have from the Misinformation team. Let's hear from the youth group that discussed misinformation. Let's call John Tongko from Notre Dame. Hello, John. Are you here?
Hello po.
Hello.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. We have talked about in our group about misinformation, specifically fake news, as of course defined as a misleading statement in form of news. So we started with an activity to which we need to identify whether it is a real or fake news. I believe it's a great activity. It's a good activity. It is because it helps us learners as youth to determine whether the news is correct and the information is correct, and we of course identify those and find of course the tips on how to spot fake news, and it was given to us by our youth speaker, and it was great during the discussion. We have also deliberated in the group during the plenary session the importance of this as, of course, being a digital citizen, as digital literate individuals, that as youth, as human beings, as netizens, we should be knowledgeable about the usage of the internet and browsing information and how it would affect if we continue to share fake news in our social media accounts, and how could it mislead other people. So there is the importance, or of course the emphasis on the importance of identifying news and identifying information, may it be fake or true or authentic. Thank you po.
Thank you, John, so much for that brief explanation. All right, I'm very glad that our students are becoming more aware about spotting fake news online environment, especially on social media. There are misinformation aplenty in the online space, so it's very useful to develop that skill to identify misinformation in just one glance. Thank you again, John. We have now the teacher group for misinformation. We have Miss Celine Daracas. Hello, Miss Celine.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
So technically the student before me really briefed everything down, so I'm not going to be touching those anymore. So basically what he mentioned, it is what the teachers also managed to have in our session. For my takeaways from the session that I had a while ago for under misinformation are mostly from the patterns that can be identified for the fake news and verification of any posted information from the reliable sites that were mentioned in the session. And also I need, or most of us would also be should be aware that disseminating or sharing certain information, even if we're unsure whether it's fake or it's real, we should be very careful of what we share in both platforms, for our private and public, because as educators, we are responsible for sharing correct and appropriate information to the public and even in our private accounts. Because whether we like it or not, we are influencers of a lot of people, especially to our students. So we need to have that sense of responsibility of what we should be posting and at the same time of what we should be modeling as. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, teachers. Celine. Right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Ma'am Celine. And ang frontliner natin, not just in this COVID pandemic, ang mga medical frontliners, but also our teachers can be frontliners dito sa ating information era. So I hope our teachers will become reliable, like Teacher Celine, regarding combating itong misinformation. All right. For our next group, we have the youth from Cyberstalking group. Hello, are you there? Can you introduce yourself from the Cyberstalking youth group? All right. Hello.
Yes,
Hi.
hello. Good morning to
Please
everyone.
introduce yourself.
Good morning to everyone. I am Alderica Almano from BHS. So I am the group, I am the representative of the cyberstalking session with Aticha. So all in all, we discuss about what is the meaning of cyberstalking, and then it's a commonly reason why it happened, and then the prevention, and then how to respond in that kind of situation. So first is what is cyberstalking? When we say cyberstalking, it refers to the use of all social media means of social media in stalking someone or harassing someone. So why does it commonly happen? It is because of the other people's hatred. Like for example, ako, I am not aware of my actions towards other people. And then hindi ko alam na kinimkim pala yun ng isang tao, and then ginawa niya ako ng cyberstalk through his hatred. And then the other one is to gain money through your malicious actions para i-gain ka ng money, kaya gumagawa sila sa iyo ng malicious para i-blackmail ka, para hingian ka ng money. And then the preventions of the cyberstalking is to Change your password regularly and never ever reveal your personal informations like birthday, age, address, and your parents' name to someone na hindi mo naman kilala. And then how to respond is easy as report it to the involved keys or involved authorities na kinasasangkutan mo. And then you can also block the person. My take-away learnings naman po in this session is it is very important that in every personal account we have is to secure all the informations that we have in ourselves. That's it po. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that brief explanation ng nangyari. Okay, so stalking does not happen only offline, but it can also happen online. So thank you so much for sharing yung mga unaware actions natin and how to be careful to avoid itong cyber stalking. Now we have another group, the last group from the teacher group, talking about cyber stalking. We have Miss Mary Ann Barrios. Hello, Miss Mary.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Mrs. Maria Ann T. Barrios from Dalandana National High School, Valenzuela. Now, I would like to thank SEAMEO INNOTECH for giving us the opportunity to participate in this webinar. Okay, so our group discussed about the cyber stalking with our facilitator, Ma'am Mary Beth and Ma'am Jenlyn. So in our discussion, our facilitators define what is cyber stalking. So it induces fear. It also associated with actions like posters or phishing, threatening, and spamming, and also identity theft. Okay, and what are the reasons why they are doing cyber stalking? As mentioned earlier, it is because about political agenda, fear, to cause fear, and gain money. We also had our activity, which is Google it or Google yourself, wherein we are asked to Google the information about our names, our birth date, and then we have realized that those are informations are easily can be easily used by perpetrators for phishing and for doing fake accounts. So our facilitator also cite tips on how to avoid cyber stalking. We may use the two-way authentication of our social media accounts and our Google accounts, and also let us be reminded to keep our identity, our information protected, and also do not overshare, especially in the social medias. And also stay up to date with privacy setting of our accounts. So my key takeaways for this activity or for this morning, it is really hard for us to avoid this kind of cyber attacks or cyber like cyberbullying and cyber stalking. So we have to really be responsible for what we are sharing, especially our informations, and also as a teacher, let us guide our students on how to protect our students in this kind of cyber crimes. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teacher Marian, for sharing what you learned about cyber stalking. Okay, to cap off, we have invited one of our youth participants to share about their learning in this whole event. We would like to call Sean Jeril Vidal, an ALS learner from Davao City.
Hello po. Oh, wait lang. Hello po.
Hello, Sean. We can hear you.
With the advent of technology, we, the youth, adults, and even the children, are so inclined with the internet world. Due to our recent situation, we can only communicate with our friends and those who are far from us virtually. That may lead us on meeting various strangers. During this forum, I realized the significance and relevance of cyber safety, especially these days. Cyber safety is indeed vital, knowing that meeting people, whether good or bad, is inevitable. What I can do to promote cyber safety is to raise an awareness against those opportunists. We should always be careful on putting our personal information online. Also, we need to be vigilant in choosing the things we will be sharing publicly. If it's not necessary, do not post anything that may be used against you. It is also to avoid identity theft. If there are people that is digitally literate, there are also lacks knowledge to such thing. Thank you po.
All right, thank you, Sean. And thank you for emphasizing our internet safety. Don't post when you're not sure. And be careful about the information you share online. Oh, okay. Before we proceed to our closing agenda, here are some announcements from INNOTECH. We invite you to the online launch of our 50th anniversary coffee table book, Spectrum, on June 28, 2021. Along with the launch of this book, we will also be launching the Southeast Asian Educational Innovation Awards. To formally close our session, we would like to call Mr. Benito Benoza, Manager of Knowledge Management and Networking Office of SEAMEO INNOTECH, to give his closing remark.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It has indeed been a morning well spent, and I'm truly happy to note that so many of you have still the energy to go on and see this program through. I wouldn't want to stand between you and your sumptuous lunch. Unfortunately, this being an online forum, we haven't the technology yet to be able to serve some refreshments online. The Digital Wellbeing of Filipino Learners webinar on youth cyber safety and digital citizenship is our second activity on the subject. And we meant it to be a fun, engaging learning session for teachers, school leaders, and our young learners. Over the past year, so many Philippine schools have adopted remote or online learning because of the current pandemic situation. So many young Filipinos and teachers spent much time online over the past months. And this is an opportunity for us to share some ideas on ensuring that we all use the web safely and productively. In pursuing that goal, we heard from the UNESCO Bangkok office's Kun Tuang Dang, who introduced the Digital Kids Asia and the Pacific, or DCAP initiative. We also heard from Ms. April Ann Correa, Project Coordinator for Save the Children Philippines, and also our friend, Mr. Israel Ace Diloy, Senior Advocacy Officer of the Stairway Foundation, Incorporated. Allow me to take this opportunity to publicly thank them for their valuable contributions in this morning's program. Their presentations gave the teachers and school officials the framework, concepts, and even some practical ideas for promoting cyber safety among our learners. Bringing these concepts closer to our youth, our colleagues at the Educational Innovation Unit shared some practical knowledge and learning resources for our teachers and learners, which they can use to promote cyber safety and digital citizenship. For this, we not only address the knowledge needs of teachers and officials, but also the students and young youth leaders who indeed spend a lot of time online and would certainly have greater use for these learning resources. At this point, let me then thank our colleagues, Ms. Orian Atienza Santos, Mr. Ben Santos of the Educational Innovation Unit, for spending their time and sharing their knowledge and ideas, and of course, in designing those engaging and fun workshops. For this forum, SEAMEO INNOTECH attempted to bring together the concepts, framework, knowledge, and experiences of our partner institutions at the same time demonstrating some practical applications where they can be adapted in the classrooms. But these information and ideas form just one part. Equally important, if not more so, is bringing the information, concepts, and good practices to life and therefore benefit both the teachers and the learners. For that, you are the key actors and players. Teachers, school officials, and learners who must work together to ensure a safe learning environment. For that reason, we made sure that these activities are as engaging and fun as possible. But at the same time, it is an opportunity to learn, especially involving those teachers and officials as well as the learners coming together. We hope that these interactive sessions will drive home the message that in all things that we must do to ensure a safe and healthful learning environment, it would not only involve teachers and school officials, but most importantly, doing all these things together. And for the teachers and officials, this is an opportunity to work more closely with your students. They too would have something to share and to say, and they would be your valuable allies in this journey. For the students, we remember that you, your classmates, and friends constantly interact, and you believe each other, and therefore you can be responsible for each other. And also, as such, promote responsible use of the internet. The program says closing remarks, but we all know that we do not really close and end here. As we move forward, our work together goes on, and we at INNOTECH would certainly be there, working and learning with you. For one thing, we only featured some of the resources produced by INNOTECH. If you want to stay updated and learn more of these resources, please visit our website, our social media pages, and keep yourself abreast with the recent developments. And let's do stay in touch. Use the chat box or send us an email to let us know how you people are doing. We would love to hear from you and perhaps give us ideas on what to do or what to make on future editions of these learning resources. Let me also publicly thank our partners and sponsors within the Philippines and in other parts of the world who made this event more interesting and engaging. And of course, the SEAMEO INNOTECH team led by our center director who welcomed you earlier today. Let me also extend my thanks to my very own KMNO team who brought all these elements together. Good work, guys, and we all thank you. And now, having said my words of gratitude to our partners, resource persons, even my own team, let me say my most important thanks, my biggest thanks, and that would be to you for taking the time, having fun and learning with us, and above all, making sure that we do take the knowledge and information shared here to the next level, applying them in our daily life, working hand in hand with our teachers, school officials, and most importantly, sharing and talking to our friends about what we have learned and what we could practice together. So this brings this session to a close, but we all know, of course, that safe, fun, and productive work now begins. Thank you, and we do look forward to seeing you all in cyberspace. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benoza. Indeed, this is a community project. We rely on each other, and of course, we at SEAMEO INNOTECH will do our best to help you create a very cyber-safe online community, online environment. Thank you again to our speakers and to our partners for those videos that you have sent. This concludes our webinar this morning. Thank you to our participants, to our Facebook and YouTube viewers. For our live viewers, please answer our end of program evaluation form through the link you see on the screen. Again, this is for our live viewers. For our Zoom participants, your evaluation form will be sent to your email. Certificates along with the online kit that we promised will be sent within 2 weeks to those who have submitted an evaluation form. So it's very important for our participants to send the evaluation form for you to receive your certificates and the online kit. The webinar presentations will be made available on our website, www.seameo-innotech.org, within a week. And please follow our social media accounts at SEAMEO INNOTECH on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Okay, we would like to thank all our participants here in Zoom as well as our viewers in Facebook and YouTube. We are so sorry about the technical problem. The recording of this video will be posted on our page. So if you would like to review everything that happened during the session and during the times that we were interrupted with technical issues, visit our page after we upload the video. We hope that you learned a lot of valuable information on cyber safety and digital citizenship through this half-day session. And we hope that you will apply all these learning to your everyday life. Let us all be responsible digital citizens and keep our online environment safe for all learners. This has been your host, Genesis. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in our next webinar.